Today, we break down everything that went on during week 1 of the NFL season. We have people on this podcast that need to answer some questions. We talk about our takes from the preseason. We talk about how those are going. We're going to talk about week 2 of the NFL. And all of this is happening right now. Welcome back to the Beerly Football Podcast. It's about football with Beerly. I am your host, Zachary Smith. Join me as always is the man who hates Mac Jones. It's Kerry Dempsey.
Dummy!
And also joining me is the man from down under who can't find his underwear. It's Trev Scott.
What? My right pair.
Listen, man, I'm wearing 2 pairs tonight, and I should have put on 3 because we saw the Chargers go out there and wet the bed, but we'll get into that.
Alrighty, boys. So before we go any further, we need to talk about what we're drinking tonight because I have a very special beverage tonight. But I'm gonna let you guys go first. I will end this round.
I have the least special 100%. I'm drinking an original twisted tea. I got a half and half. I left it in the half and half. I left it in my
I feel like if twisted tea has been your main drink for 80% of our last 10 episodes, you probably shouldn't be on the Beerly Football Podcast anymore.
Honestly, I agree. I agree.
I had some beer here for a while.
Months ago.
You know what? It's over. Next week. And I had some Corona extras today, and they were delicious, dude. So from here on out, this is the last Twisted Tea episode ever. I'm retiring.
You can have Twisted Tea. You just have to have beer first.
No, because you made me feel bad about it.
I'm going to be having
we're 2 minutes into the podcast, and I'm feeling self-conscious.
You probably should.
Because I want to enjoy a Twisted Tea. I thought we were friends. I'm getting yelled at.
All right. I had to go with something that takes after my favorite drink. I got a milk stout. Cooper Kettle Brewing Company. Milk.
Unsurprising that a Boston fan likes milk. Okay.
Very sour. It tastes like sour milk.
That doesn't sound good at all.
It's like sour milk with beer. It's not bad.
Sounds bad.
That sounds awful.
It tastes better than I'm making it sound. I'll give you that.
So before I introduce what I'm drinking tonight, I have to show you guys the cup in which I will be ingesting this beverage. Okay? So right here on this cup, we have a depiction of the olden days when me, Trevor, and Carrie first came up with the idea for Beerly Football. So I just want you guys to take a look at that real quick.
Wow.
So as you can see, we're at a bar in about 1846. I'm smoking a pipe because they didn't have vapes back then. That's Kerry. He actually does play the violin. He's very good at it.
Where's Trevor in his Twisted Tea?
Trevor's Twisted Tea is actually behind his body. It's back here. But he's got a funny hat on, and Trevor's a funny guy. But tonight, what I will be drinking out of this cup is a very special beverage, one that has not ever been ingested on the Beerly Football Podcast. This is a first time. Okay,
wow.
And we are having Georgia Standard Etowah Mead.
Wow.
Yes.
Is that honey wine?
Yeah, it is.
Where'd you find mead in 2023? Did you go down to the
honestly,
local
so we went hiking.
You vanquish a night?
Dahlonega, and they have a meadery over there.
A meadery?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they have a bunch of good meads. I got the standard one because, let me tell you guys, at 12.5% alcohol, this might be the best drink ever.
How do you tell a bad mead from a good mead?
The taste. One's good, one's bad.
That's such a dirty name for such a beautiful drink, too.
Mead. I've never had mead. Is it like a dark tasting, or is it more on the light side?
What do you mean?
Like the taste of it.
What do you mean?
It is very sweet.
Very sweet. Interesting. More like a cider?
Yeah, it's
From what
more
I
like a cider.
understand-
It is non-carbonated. You can get carbonated mead, but the one I'm drinking tonight, is a non-carbonated, very traditional mead.
What if
I
you
might be
sleep?
wrong.
Got
But
black.
is mead wine,
That
but
would
instead of
suck
grape?
if I got the Black Death, Carrie. That would suck pretty bad.
That is a beautiful mug, Zach.
Went down the wrong pipe. Thank you.
Wow.
Anyway, now beer, Twisted Tea, and mead is over. Now we got to get into the football portion of this podcast. Before we get into any specifics, I want you to give me 3 surprises of the week. We're going to go ahead and start with Carrie, your 3 biggest surprises this week.
Thank God.
Jeez, I'm not prepared for this.
Dude, I'm glad he didn't say me.
First of all, and I'll talk about him later, I'll go Matthew Stafford. He's playing with a bunch of nobodies. He balled out. And I'll talk about it more later, but Matthew Stafford. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. If you listen to last week's show, I was hyping up Lamar against the Texans. He played like shit. Good thing they were playing the Texans, because otherwise they would have won that game. So very disappointed, Lamar. Very disappointed in a lot of quarterbacks this week.
Yeah.
My 3rd surprise, I would have to say the Dallas Cowboys defense. You know, we knew they were good. I didn't know they were not good.
Yeah,
Yep,
that was special.
The Giants are bad, but that defense was not ready for that.
No.
Trevor might be cooking something, maybe.
Hey, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but I'll let the ball do the talk for me for now. But I'm glad you brought up that Cowboys game, Kerry, because one of my surprises was like, I mean, I get it, rainy, whatever. It's week 1. There's going to be some hiccups. You're playing a defense that looked fluid, but bro, the Giants looked awful. Like they looked like Zach. When you said 1-16, you might not have been wrong. You just might not have been right yet. You might have just spoke too soon.
No, they're not gonna be 1-16 this year.
Not with Tyrod Taylor leading the way.
Bro, honestly, deserves a start. 2 for 2?
Not after they just
100% completion percentage?
Wow.
Not after they just paid that brother Daniel Jones $160 million.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. But I lost him.
Teams and players that played like shit, but they'll snap out of it, hopefully.
Yeah. Trevor, what are your 3 biggest surprises this week?
He's definitely stalling because he can't think of one.
No.
What?
Okay, you froze there. What are your 3 biggest surprises this week, Trevor?
Oh, I didn't even hear you. But well, like the first one I said, like the Giants. I mean, that was a second round playoff team last year, and just to come out and just look like lost out there was really surprising. Another surprise. I don't want to go too into the depth. I don't want to take somebody's point off of their paper. But another thing was just how. I mean, I would get it if it was like your first year, maybe second year. I mean, I get he's still young, but I didn't expect Joe Burrow to look that unprepared. I mean, you know, there's reasons for it. Didn't go to training camp, didn't play at all in the preseason, was injured for all of camp. But man, you could tell he was not ready at all. And then lastly, surprise. What surprised me? Oh, the Patriots, Loki. It was 16-0 in that game. The Eagles were up on them, and the Eagles weren't even playing great. And I actually wrote a point down pertaining to the Patriots, and I actually had to erase it. They were able to come back, make that an interesting ball game. Still took the L, but that first 8-10 first quarter, maybe first quarter and a half was looking really rough for Patriots Nation, and I loved every second of it.
That was the best. That might be the best.
They were able to snap back like that.
That might be the best 2 quarters Mac Jones has looked to Patriots.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And I think Mac Jones was the number 2 fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, he was.
That's nuts.
That
Mac
is nuts.
Mid-Jones. Wow.
But
wow.
my 3 biggest surprises, I gotta go number 1. I trashed this player preseason. This is the one thing I got wrong. The one and only thing I got wrong. How about Baker Mayfield going out there and playing for the Bucks?
He sucked.
I mean,
What do you mean he sucked?
9 for 10 yards.
What?
He didn't play good, but like once he got a little momentum and like once he took that hit out of bounds and picked up that first down, like he was like, I could win this game. And
Yeah.
he went out there and he did his thing.
Listen, no, I
His
did
thing,
not.
Kirk
So
Cousins was like,
let me
I'm
be
gonna
clear.
get
Let me be
turnovers.
clear. When I say I was wrong about Baker Mayfield, I haven't had him as the 32nd best quarterback in the NFL going into this season. Okay?
Sure.
I didn't, or the 31st. I didn't include the Cardinals because I didn't even know who was going to start for him.
I don't think we should include the Cardinals, honestly.
That's
to be
true.
Right.
We're talking about least surprising things. But Baker Mayfield did what he had to do to win that game, which is not play amazing. It's one of those things where you don't have to win the game as Baker Mayfield. The Bucs organization is not expecting you to win them football games. They're expecting you not to lose them football games.
That defense is popping in Tampa Bay,
And that
dude.
defense did play extremely well. So that's my number one. Number two, I thought we were in the era of the quarterback. What happened?
Life happens.
Aaron Rodgers is gone forever. Aaron Hernandez.
Fuck, that
Josh
sucks.
Allen is awful. Joe Burrow, awful. Lamar Jackson, awful. Patrick Mahomes looked mid. Although, to be fair, he had the softest player in the NFL, Kadarius Toney, trying to catch passes for him. I mean, there's so many good quarterbacks.
Jalen Hurts. Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, same thing. Did not play well. But, I mean, we're in the era of the quarterback, and it seems like maybe 7 of the top 10 played horribly.
Fringe guys too played pretty bad. Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno Smith did not have a good game.
Hate to bring it up.
But I mean, it was not
Honestly,
not that great to watch.
Herbert did not play that well, but Herbert was one of the better top quarterbacks, sadly, Trevor. Trevor Lawrence was too. Tua obviously was the best by far.
But I thought we were in the age of the quarterback. Seems like we're in the age of the frauds. And we'll get into that later.
Wow.
And then finally, my biggest surprise, or not my biggest, but my third surprise point, I guess you could say, of this little bit we're doing is I was shocked and appalled, frankly, at how, and we'll get into this later, I know we will, but how bad the Chargers defense is.
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it later, but at any point, if this a defensive head coach, right, Brandon Staley, defensive head coach, if at any point you have Khalil Mack guarding Tyreek Hill, you know,
I saw that was the first play of the game too.
quit your job. You're awful. Quit your job. That's the worst thing I think I've ever seen in the NFL in terms of coaching, outside of Pete Carroll throwing the ball on 2nd and goal.
And the thing with that play, with him lining up on Hill, I mean, Khalil Mack eventually he gave up on it and went back like closer to the line, and no one guarded Hill on that play. Nobody. There wasn't a safety that came down. There wasn't anybody that rotated over.
So Mack is supposed to have if you look at the coverage, Mack is supposed to have the flat, which is where Hill went to. But Mack was just like, I can't guard this guy. And so he just stayed in instead of going to the flat where he was supposed to go. So, I mean, it just looks like undisciplined, horrible football.
Hey.
And this guy is supposed to be the defensive coach. All I'm saying is, congrats, Chargers fans. You played yourself. You kept a coach that absolutely sucks. I don't care how good your offensive coordinator is. You kept a coach that absolutely sucks. And supposed to be good at defense. You sign all these guys to major contracts and they can't get the job done. You're the worst defense in the NFL, or one of the bottom 5 defenses in the NFL for 3 years running with a defensive head coach. Find someone else.
But they stopped the run, which they couldn't do last year.
Woo!
Less than 4 yards.
Yeah, everyone. You know what? You're right, Kerry. Everyone. I believe everyone was worried about Miami's rushing attack coming into this year. I think that was what everyone was afraid of. If you didn't catch that, that's sarcasm.
Wow. Everybody was like, they can't defend the run. They can't defend the run. Hey, they did. They just forgot they had to defend the pass, too.
It was one of the most atrocious defensive performances I've seen in a long time. Now, not taking anything away from Tua or Tyreek Hill, they both had a great game. Like I said in the offseason, Tua is absolutely a top 10 quarterback, and anyone that says he's not is ridiculous.
It's the Braxton Berrios effect.
That in the offseason.
I think there's plenty of blame to go around.
But that's my 3 most surprising things. So,
do we want to talk about some college football before we head into NFL?
Absolutely. Fuck it, Miami's winning the Natty. I said it.
Okay.
Are they?
Absolutely. It's our year, baby. Hey, you know why I wore this jersey? Because this is the number of championships Miami's going to have after this season.
Sure about that?
Yep.
What'd you guys think of the Texas-Alabama game?
Jalen Milroe is
not good.
Horrible. He might
what do you guys think about
this is unironic. I'm not trying to be mean when I say this. He might unironically be a better running back.
That's not a crazy take. It's like the Alabama team just isn't that good with him. I don't think they scare anyone.
Yeah.
And Quinn Ewers is great.
Quinn Ewers did look really good. Yeah.
He's going to be a good NFL QB.
He could be.
Texas
quarterbacks have also looked good in the past.
Yeah, but they usually can't throw. They usually just run.
Colt McCoy?
Well, yeah, not him. But I did see this thing of Nick Saban, or as Kerry would call him, Nick Satan, at the podium, looking very defeated. And then the picture of Lightning McQueen when he's like stalling out and all the cars are passing him and he realizes he doesn't got it anymore. And they had the same look on their face. So shout out to Cars.
True.
Cars, I think that's Cars 4. So
how about
there's that many of them?
There's a lot of them.
I thought there was 2.
I think there's 4.
Wow. I know there's like a bunch of Toy Stories too.
4.
You know a lot of things, don't you?
We should just come on here when people think we're going to talk about football and just talk about like Pixar movies for the few hours.
Shut up.
All right, what about the other big team? Pulling out another decent win. We got Colorado beating Nebraska. Colorado's got Colorado State, Oregon, and USC coming up. Are we still buying Colorado hype?
I believe. Wait. By the way, Kerry, another thing. Wait, this is just going to be a theme tonight. So we're just going to keep this going. We're just going to keep this going. Trevor, you know what I'm about to do. Kerry, do you want to apologize?
No.
I don't apologize?
I don't apologize.
You don't apologize?
I don't know what he's talking about.
So Kerry says Colorado is a 1-week wonder. Jeff Sims is going to stun on him, basically, and how Nebraska's about to win this game. I could pull it up if you want, but you said, I believe the quote was, you're about to see a Jeff Sims masterclass.
That was never watched him play.
Kerry would say.
I never watched him play before, never will again. That guy's awful. If he didn't turn over the ball every time he touched it, they could have won that game. Their defense looked amazing in that first half. And then Jeff Sims is like, oh, a football, I must drop it. Oh, a football, I got to throw it to the guy in the other T-shirt.
So I just we're going to ask Kerry for a lot of apologies this episode. But that's the first one. No, I'm not out on Colorado in the hype. I think that they are a better team than USC. I think that they are a better team than Oregon. And I think that they will win the Pac-12.
You think they'll beat Oregon and USC in the next couple of weeks?
Yep, I do.
Zach, we should bet on that game, man. That Oregon game.
Bo
Oregon
Nix,
and Colorado.
Or USC. I'll take either one.
believe in Bo Nix. Bo Nix is the new Justin Herbert, honestly.
Okay, relax.
He
What
may
do
be
you
like
want to bet on it, Trevor? Or do you want to wait a week?
Which game's first? Oregon?
Oregon.
yeah, that's in 2 weeks. Or
Next Saturday, not this Saturday.
I thought Bo
Yeah.
Nix was like 25.
I feel like he is.
He's only
What is he,
20. He's 23. I thought he was older than that.
I mean, that's
I
pretty
want
old
you
for college.
to
Pretty old, but it's yeah.
if the Oregon Ducks win, I want you to eat an entire sleeve of saltine quackers with nothing to
Quackers?
drink at the beginning of an episode.
That is a random.
An entire
Start
sleeve?
the episode and you start munching. A
All right.
sleeve of saltine crackers, nothing to drink.
For how long?
Just until it's gone.
An entire sleeve like this long?
Okay,
Yeah.
2 sleeves. You guys are making my bet sound
Whoa! 2 sleeves of quackers.
nothing to drink though.
Nothing to drink. 2 sleeves of crackers. I'm trying to lose weight, man. I was in the
Crackers.
gym yesterday. I can't be having all those carbs.
You said they're gonna beat them, man. It's just Oregon.
Okay, then
just
what are you going to
bone
do?
I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Buy
Don't
Justin
smoke
Herbert
weed.
jersey.
Don't smoke weed for a week.
I got all the Justin Herbert merch I need on my body right now.
No. I just say
Make-
same thing for you.
Make him
Entire
eat a
sleeve
piece.
of saltines.
Make him eat a piece of celery every 5
Just
minutes.
make me eat something buffalo because they're the buffaloes.
That's a good idea.
Why? Oh, quackers.
Give me the-
That's why you
Yeah.
said it like that. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. How about this? You have to find a way to obtain the Apollo sauce from Hot Ones, and you have to eat a chicken wing with that sauce on there. And I have to watch you put it on there.
I actually have a chicken wing in my freezer. I'm gonna save that for
Okay.
that.
Why do
So,
you
yeah.
have one chicken? You have one chicken wing in your freezer.
Well, I had 5 left, and the serving size was 4, so I didn't know what else to do.
Eat 5?
I don't know. I
It
don't
could
want
be
to
a
do
wing,
math.
it could be a tender, it does not matter to me, but you have to have the Apollo sauce on there.
Can it be an impossible wing?
Yeah.
All right. It's not going to be, but I was just wondering.
Shut up, man.
Alrighty. Anything, Trevor, you want to talk about the Gators?
Nah. They played McNeese State. I didn't watch the game. I'm not going to lie.
Trevor, Carrie, you want to talk about New Hampshire?
I saw their score and then I was like, okay, I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, are they FBS? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Who cares? They suck.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't care. So
Let's go. Let's head
I
into
doubt
pick.
if you were a Dolphins fan because you're a Hurricanes fan.
no, I'm not a Dolphins fan. I'm a Jags fan.
Fake fan. We ready for some pick 'em now?
Yeah, let's get into pick 'em.
Trevor, how did we all do last week?
We all
know.
did. We all
all
did.
did?
We all did. Our first game was the Dolphins at the Chargers. Only one person picked that right. Was your boy. Second game was the Dallas Cowboys at the Giants. I took the Cowboys. Kerry took the Cowboys. Zach, did you take the Cowboys?
I believe I did, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only one who got right, sadly.
Okay. So I'm 2 for 2. Zach's 1 for 2. Kerry's 1 for 2. Last game was Monday Night Football. Bills at the Jets. I think we all took the Bills. Does that sound right?
I think, yeah, I took the Bills.
Yeah.
And Pookie prevailed, so we took an L.
Well,
So
that's-
I'm 2 for 3, and then both of these guys are 1 for 3. So week 1 champ, you know what that means. I'll get to go first on my point tonight. But before we get there, we got week 2 pick'em, and we've got a few good games here.
Yeah, something.
Huh?
We have our winners in week 1.
Okay. All right. You're right. I don't know. Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you played along with us on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, left a response, win 3 for 3. We'll give you a shout out on the podcast. Trevor, why don't you mention our TikTok winners first?
That's good because there's only 3 of them. This is the first time we posted Pick'em on TikTok, and it did pretty well. So if you want to support our struggling TikTok, that's going to be at Beerly Sports. And shout out to these 3 guys that went 3 for 3 and top 3 out of like 20, 25 people that played along. But first of all is Cup Clips, like Cooper Cup, KUPPKLIES. There's 2 Ks, 2 Ps. And then G Lines at GLINESS on TikTok. And lastly, Noah KVNGNC03. So nice. It rhymes for me. But yeah, shout out to those 3 players. And we'll be doing it again on TikTok. I don't know when I'll post it. Probably when I remember, which could be any time between now and next like 2 weeks. So definitely.
Remember when I used to do like 100 in like a minute, and Trevor just did 3 in like 30 seconds and struggled with it?
It was over 30 seconds. I mean, if we want to actually get the timer out, I can time them next time.
People, I'm trying to make it personal. I'm trying to make it warm and welcome.
I'm more personal than you. I give stories about each of their lives. I tell something about them that they care about.
Oh, you're right.
So we had over 230 responses on Twitter and Instagram. We only had 18 winners. That's
not surprising. I mean, a couple big upsets.
Yeah. So congrats to all you. This is a very rare, very limited amount of winners. So good job, all you. And play again next week. We'll drop it on Twitter and Instagram this Friday. Play along, get a shout out next week. All right, our 18 winners. At Loyal to Houston 1, Troy's Houston sports fan. At ELJ Bell 1, proud father and loves Kobe. At Laidback Mac, liberal army vet. At 43 Tony, Davy Boy OG plus Canes fan. Zach would love him.
Hey!
At Mark Pinnix, dad, grandpa coach. At Eli Too Cold, Giants and Nets fan. Rough week to be a Giants fan. At Benny at College, Matt Bennett, Cowboys fan. Good week to be a Cowboys fan. At Brady L81043644, Florida man. I don't know what that means. At Tex NE2, Atlanta sports fan. At Groggy DMD&D, JD socialist. He hates leftists. Poor Trevor. At Steelers season 22, Jimmy, Steelers fan. At Imperfect Bob, Lions fan for 26 years. Hey, Bob, you were perfect this week, so good job. At RM3_sports, Robert, he's on Team Jesus. At MS Soul 0616, NY sports fan, he's in a beer league. At Tax-Free_crypto, follow his podcast, Tax-Free Crypto Podcast. At Side284, he's straight out of Baltimore. At Pedo Pete FU, Trump1, FJB. And the last one, at MAGA Deer Hunter. He's a Browns fan. So good job to all you 18. Again, play along with us next week to get a shout out on the podcast. Hopefully there'll be a few more winners next week if Trevor picks some decent games or not.
Alrighty.
I'm not a leftist, but all right. First game of week 2, pick'em. This should be a fun one. We got the Ravens at Bengals. Zach, talk to me. Where are we going? What's this game going to look like? Who are we taking?
Man. Because Joe Burrow has a theme in his career thus far, which is to play terrible in week 1. And Lamar also played terrible in week 1. This makes it a very tough decision. But I do think Joe Burrow bounces back week 2 and picks up the win. I'm going to go Bengals.
Okay, so we got Zach taking the Bengals. Kerry, going with him?
I'm going to go Bengals too. Ravens did not impress me at all against the Texans, and J.K. Dobbins out for the year. The Bengals are a good team. I don't see them playing another awful game. I think they got to win this one at home. Bengals.
Well, that sucks for all the competitive fans out there because I'm taking the Bengals as well. Game number 2. I'm taking the Seahawks to beat the Lions in Detroit. Is anybody with me?
Unfortunately, I'm not with you. I'm going to take Detroit. They played very well against Patrick Mahomes, even though he didn't have a ton of help from his receiving core. I think that this Detroit team is, if not 100% for real, they're 80% for real. I think that this is a playoff team, and the Seahawks did not impress me at all against a Rams defense that has one name I can remember on it. So I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions.
Okay, as I figured both of you would. So, Carrie, I'm going to let you go first on our
I
last.
didn't even answer that one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, bro. You're going to say the Lions. Well, go ahead. What?
The Lions, man.
There we go.
Easily.
The Lions. All right. And I think I know what both of you are going to say for our last game, but this was a fun one. I'm glad we're going to get to. Okay, what am I talking about? Chiefs at Jaguars. Carrie, you're the wild card here. Everybody knows what Zach's doing.
I like your Jag, Zach. Ridley and Lawrence look like a great connection. That defense didn't impress me, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Kelsey should be back. Chris Jones is back. I can't see the Chiefs falling 0-2. I'm going to take the Chiefs.
I think Andy Reid will have his way in this game. I think it'll be a smooth Chiefs offense.
It's interesting. Zach? It's interesting that you said the Chiefs. You don't see them falling at 0-2. I believe last year they were 0-2 through 2 weeks.
Does it mean it's going to happen again?
I do think it's going to happen again. I'm going Jags. I tell you what, another thing that surprised me is Trayvon Walker's second year leap, seemingly. He played a lot better than he did all year last year, so I'm impressed with that. But I have the Jags winning this game.
Fair, okay. So like Carrie said earlier, you can find this graphic that's going to be posted on our social medias, on Twitter at Beerly Football, on Instagram at Beerly Football, and on TikTok at Beerly Sports. Go 3 for 3. We'll give you a shout out on the podcast and maybe say something nice about you. But yeah, 3 good games: Ravens, Bengals, Seahawks, Lions, and Chiefs, Jags. We got some mixed up answers in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But in first place right now, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling like I probably won't lose the lead all season.
Yeah, I want to bet on that.
How did Mary do, Carrie?
I don't know. I knew she
I
lost.
think she picked the Chargers.
I think she picked the Giants also.
Ooh.
Rough.
Tough scene.
Tough scene.
Tough day to be.
All right, we ready for some points then?
Yeah, let's go into points.
Yeah.
So
What's that?
you won, so I guess you get to go first.
Yeah, I heard you. I just want to hear you say it again. But
Probably the last.
Earlier, we don't have to do it right now because it sounds very crazy. But it just came to me while I was driving, and I thought that so I read my first point. We can do this in the future. We don't have to do this right now. But I say I read my first point, and it's something that you guys might not agree with. Whatever. Justin Herbert sucks. And then I gotta A, take a shot, or B, drink my drink. And you guys can say whatever you want to say about my point while I'm drinking. But when I finished it, then, yeah. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, well, we can do that.
Tonight or the future?
We can do that right now.
Gary? Gary's not feeling it, dude.
Okay.
Can you commit to next week? Can you commit to next week?
I'll participate next week.
You promise?
Yes. This milk beer did not go down well.
Okay. Andrew's sitting
thick.
down.
I mean.
Okay. Well, at least I know it was a good idea, so I can feel comfortable in that. My point number 1 is there's a couple divisions with some 3-legged races, and I can tell it's just going to be a 3-team race in this division. From week 1, you could just tell. Mm-hmm. The first one is the NFC South, and I'm kicking out the Panthers. I don't think they're going to be competitive in this division. But between the Bucks, Saints, and Falcons, I think after week 1, each of those teams look like they're going to be scrapping all season. Each have a good enough chance to win the division. I think the Saints probably will still have the biggest bite at the apple, if that's even a thing people say. But yeah, so the first is going to be the NFC South. And then, you know what they say about the South, the AFC South as well. Kick out the Houston Texans, and I'm taking that as a 3-team race as well. I don't see a true powerhouse in either of these divisions. And, man, if they can keep AR-15 upright, I like what we're going to see from AR-15 this year. It's a
wild
Colts,
take.
the Titans,
that
and
is
the Jags.
a wild take.
Jags didn't dominate, man.
They won by double digits.
That's not dominating, you know.
Listen, okay, here's what I have to say about the AFC South. The Jags are the best team in this division. Titans look awful.
No, they didn't.
Carrie, stop! Your love child of Ryan Tannehill is arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league through week one.
Listen, no, I agree and disagree with what you just said. You said the Titans sucked. No, the Titans defense looked great. Ryan Tannehill sucked. Any other quarterback could have won that game. The rest of the Titans looked great. That defense looked like a playoff defense right there.
Okay, we expected their defense to be good, but you were the one saying all offseason, I don't know why everyone hates Ryan Tannehill. He's a pretty good quarterback. He does everything the right way. He is such a class act. You know, he's a really scrappy guy.
Class act. It's also week. Here's one thing. It's also week 1. Ryan Tannehill did not play in the preseason and is notoriously a slow starter. Yes, Ryan Tannehill looked horrible. If he plays like that again, I'd consider playing Malik Willis. But this is also a week we saw Josh Allen look like Nathan Peterman and Joe Burrow couldn't even get 100 yards. So it's week 1. It's not over yet.
Listen, I would agree with that statement if Ryan Tannehill were in the same conversation as Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. But let's be honest. Ryan Tannehill is nowhere near that conversation. Ryan Tannehill is supposed to be the guy that doesn't make mistakes and doesn't wow you, okay? If I ever hear Ryan Tannehill's name when they're talking about a Tennessee Titans win, he's done a bad job, okay? And all we're talking about right now is Ryan Tannehill because the Tennessee Titans looked awful with him at the helm.
Now that I'm thinking of it, I think every single quarterback that didn't play in the preseason looked very rusty this week. Now I don't think Kurtz didn't play. He looked rusty. Tannehill didn't play. Burrow didn't play. I'm trying to think who else didn't.
You think Ryan Tannehill has ever raised anyone's heart rate like dramatically in his life?
Sure.
Yeah, he raised he raised the blood pressure of everybody on his team, including the coaching staff.
Yeah, probably maybe before
they were probably just like, God, this fucking guy.
Shout out to Nick Folk, man. That guy's cooks. That guy's their offense right there. Also, Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb being involved in passers week 1, I love that.
Yeah, they weren't lying about Nick Chubb, were they?
Yeah, they were not. Which I like.
4 or 5 catches, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nick Chubb is a beast, I think, and this is my personal opinion. I think he's the best running back in the NFL. I getting him involved in the passing game is such a smart move by Cleveland.
If they can get the receiving yards going, yeah, he should definitely be the best running back in the NFL, especially behind that line.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Watson looked horrible again.
I mean he looked better than Burrow, and they were playing the same game, so in the same conditions. So I mean,
but we all know Burrow's a usual slow starter after Trevor's bathroom experience at World of Beer last year.
Yep. I think I threw up at 1:30, and we got there at 1:05.
The fifth Burrow interception was too much for you to handle.
That was terrible. Oh yeah, man. What about some? There's another elephant in the room, or should I say rhino, or should I say wildebeest, or should I say lion, or should I say? I got to be careful, anyways. But man,
AR-15. What about him?
He looked like he doesn't need to sit. He looks like he needs to be out there on that field.
Okay, so here's my opinion on AR-15 in his game. He played well. Well for a rookie quarterback. He played very well.
I wouldn't even say for a rookie. I would just say he played well.
Never said he was the best quarterback.
My issue is once teams get tape on him, how is he going to look? Because this is the first time any defense has played against him. And yeah, he looked good, but that's a defense that doesn't know what they're preparing for. I mean, they know he's an athlete. They know he's got a cannon for an arm. But outside of that, they don't really know all that much.
And he also has no help whatsoever. So he's going to have to do everything himself.
I think as long as he keeps his cool, like he'll have a fine season.
He looked.
Like, quarterback. Like something
He was
happened.
easily the best rookie quarterback we saw this Sunday.
That's
easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which me and Zach both were against, but again, it's still early. He played well though, so I'll give you credit for that, Trevor.
Absolutely.
I just said he was ready. I didn't say he was going to come out here and blow us away. I just said he's.
You said he was the best quarterback in the 1 p.m. window, and he was a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. And I could pull up the text right now.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Wait, he's not top 15 right now?
Anthony Richardson is not a top 15 quarterback in the NFL right now, and that is not. I don't know why I even had to say that.
Okay, you don't have to, but okay.
But I don't think – I think the Colts could potentially, in a couple of years, challenge for that division. They have a decent defense, but they don't have the weapons around Richardson to be a real threat, in my opinion.
He had how many chances in that game to get another score and give him a 2-score lead, and he didn't? The Jags gave it over like 4 times in a row, either punting or fumbles or whatever. And he had the ball like 4 times in a row, couldn't score.
To be fair, when the Colts took the lead, they took the lead on a pretty fluke play. But
oh, that one? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
Where everybody stopped playing?
Yeah.
It does sound like...
It literally falls into Tank Bigsby's lap, and he's holding it there, and a guy comes up and, like, touches him, and everyone, the defense stops playing except for one guy, and he goes and punches that shit out, and then they run it into the end zone.
My brother did not hear a whistle. You know what they say?
Yeah,
It's
no,
the whistle.
I agree. Play to the whistle, but, I mean, it's a fluke play.
Yeah. So, if you were to lose, if I just came to you from the future, from about 17 weeks from now, and I said, Zach, the Jags finished second in the division, who finished first? Would you say the Titans? Would you say the Colts?
If you came to me 17 weeks from now and say, oh, the Jags did not win the AFC South.
I came to you in this moment, but I'm from the future.
Yeah.
17. Yes.
Is that why you're dressed like Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on something huge, actually.
So, if I had to say, if like someone beat them in the division, honestly, oh god,
Of course, that Titans hater.
Titans looked awful, but I still think they were a better team overall than the Colts.
Fair enough. That's the right answer, I think. I just wanted to see if maybe there was some Anthony Richardson glazing down there.
I mean, I think he looked better in this game than I expected him to look.
He looked calm. He looked collected. Like, I think everybody expected him to be sporadic.
That one pick that he threw was a bad read, but, I mean, that's something you get with time. Tyson Campbell baited him into that. One. I mean, it was...
I think we're going to see a lot of Josh Allen flash from him, where we see a lot of, high string play, and we see a lot of stupid throws at the same time.
Man, Josh Allen looked like...
He's also in a similar situation that the Colts don't have weapons, so he's going to have to force it himself like Josh Allen does.
I think that's an incorrect comparison.
This is definitely a correct comparison.
No, Josh Allen has way more weapons than Anthony Richardson.
Now he does.
Yeah. I
think every team has more weapons than... Anthony Richardson does.
Probably. All he has
the Texans?
Well, how about this little Zachy? Rookie Josh Allen, rookie Anthony Richardson. When Josh Allen did not, before the Diggs era.
Wait. I believe, was it me?
It
was me. It was me that called Josh Allen was going to be a great quarterback in his rookie year. Because you could see it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I definitely did.
I asked Zach about the AFC South. Carrie, I'll ask you about the NFC South. Just call it. Actually, both of you guys, call it. After week 1, who's going to win? NFC South.
It's not a question. It's the Saints.
Not a question?
It's absolutely a question, but my answer is still the same. It's the Falcons. That defense is really good, and if they... I said this on Twitter. Who's
fucking Bryce Young?
I said this on Twitter. The Atlanta Falcons are the new Tennessee Titans. They're going to control the clock. They're going to play good defense and run the ball.
I think I did see you say that.
It's not a good defense, Zach. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
That was a bottom 5 offense in the NFL.
Okay. So Kerry,
And
if they keep this up for 5 weeks, if they keep this up for 5 weeks, am I right or wrong?
What? That they're the Titans?
That they're a good defense.
Sure,
The
if they
Titans
play
with
like
more
this.
depth at running back.
What?
Okay, Kerry doesn't want to answer the question. That's fine. We'll just move on. But I don't think it's easily the Saints. The Saints didn't look that great in their season opener.
No, they didn't.
They didn't.
Their defense looked good. Bro.
Their defense always going to look good. It's Derek Carr's first game there. That wide receiver trio is nasty. And they're also missing their best offensive weapon.
Alvin Kamara? Yeah, I got him in a trade. I'm really excited in fantasy.
He's out 3, right? Or is
3
it 4?
games.
3. Yeah, Jamal Williams didn't really do that. Running game really didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
But still a win's a win.
Yeah.
A win's a win.
A win, a W is a W.
All right, who's next?
Both you guys were 1 for 3.
We were both 1 for 3.
Yeah,
Kerry, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
It's all right. I'll go to one I feel like all of us will pretty much agree on. I'm already sick of the Daniel Jones era. The Giants need to rebuild. They're not winning anything with this team.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I don't even like...
Wait, okay, Kerry. So, before I say this, I am not comparing these 2 quarterbacks in any way because one is obviously better than the other. Okay? First off. Okay. Both Daniel Jones and Joe Burrow played poorly in week 1. Both Daniel Jones and Joe Burrow played during rainy weather in week 1. Are you ready to give up on a quarterback that you have been screaming about for the past 3 fucking years over one week 1 performance against a very good defense? Because if that's the case, I can't trust anything you say anymore. Not that I do. Let me be clear. Not that I do.
Here's what I hear. You don't listen to me at all. I gave up on him last year, and then that was the year he finally did something. But the more I'm sitting here and thinking about watching Daniel Jones, and yes, the offensive line probably the worst game I've ever seen. And a lot of it was not his fault. He looked bad, obviously, but the line was mostly at fault, and that Cowboys defense was insane. But the more I think about it, you pay this quarterback how much money?
Yeah.
You realistically think you can see Daniel Jones winning a Super Bowl with his passing ability?
I think Brad Johnson is a worse quarterback than Daniel Jones, and Brad Johnson has a Super Bowl ring.
Those receivers sucked.
Zach, that was also 20 years ago. This is a very different league.
Jalen Hyatt is a fraud.
Yeah, he had a rough drop in that game. I can't see Daniel Jones getting anything more than like peaking last year. Maybe winning 1 playoff game.
Matthew Stafford didn't play well in the Super Bowl.
Matthew Stafford played great in the playoffs, though.
But not in the Super Bowl.
But he had to get them the Super Bowl the first place.
I can't. So, Kerry,
this is not a team
ago. Wait, pause. 2 years ago, not 3 years ago. 2 years ago, when the Titans were set to make a playoff run, a deep playoff run, because they were like the 1 or 2 seed in the AFC. What is Ryan Tannehill that much better than Daniel Jones?
Arm-wise, yeah. Not that much better. Good enough to win. And what happened to Ryan Tannehill? Did he win a Super Bowl?
No, he didn't.
Did he win any?
You were touting him as like, oh, the Titans are my dark horse to make the Super Bowl that year. I remember. We can go back on the pod and listen. Because you were like, Titans defense, blah, 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 blah. And Ryan Tannehill's good enough. He could get the job done. And they have Derrick Henry, blah, 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 blah. And what did they do? They get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs every year.
And that was a Giants team. This is Titans team. I'm too tired for this show. This Giants team, they overpaid Daniel Jones. This is a decent roster. They still haven't got him a wide receiver 1, and who knows if they ever will. And how much is that? How much can he get better? If he got, he's not going to get it, but like AJ Brown, some wide receiver 1, whoever he is. how much better can he get?
I think he can get significantly. Well, no. Let me rephrase. I think he can get better with a legit wide receiver 1. I think, honestly, he has more talent than Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers. But
Jordan Love's played 2 games, so
no, I'm saying he has more talent. Kerry, that's not dependent on the amount of games that he's played. I think he has more arm talent. I think he has more talent as a football player than Jordan Love.
No.
Okay. Good response.
So, Kerry, is there any way out of this? You say you're tired of the Daniel Jones era, find a new quarterback, but
No, I think they're stuck with him where they paid him. We're going to see him for the next few years. You have to have an excellent team around a guy like Daniel Jones to get anywhere. Like, if you put him on the Niners, sure. But with the amount of money they're paying him, they're probably going to pay Saquon money. This is not a team with a roster that I see, being a top 5 roster in the next few years. They're going to have an insanely good team around him, and I don't think that's going to happen with the salary cap they're paying him.
So we've seen the best of Daniel Jones.
I think last year was peak Daniel Jones. At least playoff. I think stats-wise, you could see it better. But I'm saying, winning a playoff game, getting the second round is about, I think, the farthest we're going to see Daniel Jones.
So what if, this is a what if, Kerry, you love these. What if, before the trade deadline, they make a blockbuster trade to get Daniel Jones a wide receiver 1? I'm not saying it's super likely. I'm just saying.
Mike Evans.
They make a blockbuster trade to get Daniel Jones a wide receiver 1. You say that they're not going deeper than the second round, or you're saying that they are not winning a playoff game.
I said they're not getting deeper than they won a playoff game last year. I'm saying they're not getting farther than that.
Okay, but that's a plateau, not a peak. It's like
maybe win a playoff game.
Like Phillip Rivers. Like Phillip Rivers plateaued.
I don't think anybody thinks this Giants team is that good. And with they haven't beat the Cowboys in how many games in a row?
I don't know.
40 points week 1 is travesty, dude. Didn't it happen on 9/11 too, or was that 9/10?
That was 9/10.
Oh.
But I don't know. I'm tired and I'm sick of talking about it. Okay. Zach, take your next point.
Alrighty. My point number 1 is that, and I'm going to go away from what I said in my most surprising points because I feel like I'd just be rehashing some stuff. My point number 1 is we have, as a fan base and as a league, the NFL has overvalued the quarterback position.
Think so.
When a guy, this is kind of to Kerry's point, when a guy like Daniel Jones can make $40 million a year, we have overvalued the quarterback position. If you think there aren't 20 other guys that can do what Daniel Jones does, you're wrong. And we see that in San Francisco.
Oh, Brock Purdy.
What the heck? What did I say? What did I say that was wrong?
Terry, you just said Daniel Jones would do great in San Francisco.
My left pass could do great. Yeah.
Anyway, we see that in San Francisco. You get a great team around a guy that is okay. I don't think Brock Purdy is a great quarterback. He's fine, but he's not great. You get a great team around a guy that is okay, and you are going to see success. I think that the league as a whole has overvalued the quarterback position in this new passing era that we are in, this quarterback era that I alluded to. And I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
What? I think, first and foremost, I think, part of the reasons, these big quarterbacks get these big contracts is, they're just, bought into the system and, Because like guys like Daniel Jones or whatever, like they have like this 5 year project, or they have this whatever, like they have this group that we just got to perfect this, get this better, and then Daniel Jones can be our guy to win it. So like, and if we were to bring somebody else in, we'd have to start all over, start from square one. And I think that's like part of the, like they're paying them for security, like be here for 4 years, like get better for 4 years while we work on everything else.
Yeah,
And
so I would agree with that if they were doing that with everyone that they signed a 4-year contract to. So if I sign a tight end to a 4-year contract saying, listen, I think you can do great things in this league. I think you can do all this. But instead of signing you to a $40 million contract like we did with the quarterback, we're going to sign you to a $5 million contract.
yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think the league is overvalued. I'm not saying that quarterbacks aren't valuable, but they are overvalued right now. And I think teams like San Francisco are showing that.
So how much should the Giants have paid Daniel Jones if they paid him a base of $40 million a year?
So
I would have franchised him, not signed him.
I mean, but just like for Zach's, is they're being
So, like,
overvalued.
if I was going to sign Daniel Jones to a contract, right?
4 years.
I would, for a 4-year contract, I'm thinking, honestly, because I do think that Daniel Jones is replaceable in this system. I think you look at something like, hey, listen, we like you. We think you can do good things. But let's be honest, you've played good for 1 year. So I'm going to sign you to a $10 million contract instead of a $40 million per year contract. And if you don't sign that, you are more than happy to go find a home elsewhere, and we are going to start over.
What does that mean? Tyrod Taylor?
A rookie, Tyrod Taylor, anything. Honestly, Tyrod probably would have played better against the Dallas Cowboys. And I honestly do believe that.
No.
Absolutely. 2 for 2. 100% completion percentage.
Tyrod doesn't play. That was against the Cowboys scrub, Zach. Also, why the hell were they leaving Daniel Jones out there with like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter in a 40-0 game? They were just trying to get that guy murdered. Bro's getting sacked for like the 10th time. Dak Prescott hadn't played in like 3 drives, but no, let's send out poor Daniel Jones.
He needs the snaps, honestly. He needs a game experience. So bad.
I think it's just so much like teams not wanting to go back to square one and start over with a guy that you have to teach a brand new offense to. You got to put him on the same page as the head coach and the offensive coordinator. You got to wrinkle out any kinks that you don't even find until week 10 of the season. And it's such a mess. And like, I feel like teams are so scared to like mess up that homeostasis.
The problem is that the quarterback market is just too inflated. I don't have a problem with signing guys to long-term deals. Not at all. I think that's a smart idea. But when you sign guys to expensive long-term deals, like Daniel Jones, several other people, and they don't perform, then what's the issue? Daniel Jones has been there for long enough. He's either a fit for your system or he's not. He's either the guy or he's not. At some point, you have to make the determination if he's the guy. And if he is the guy, that's when you sign him to a $40 million contract. You don't sign him to a $40 million contract if there are doubts if he's the guy. Does that make sense?
Also, anything under $33 million, I think you would have left, and their season would have just been done.
Who would have paid him that? Who would have gone after him this offseason?
What?
Who would have gone after Daniel Jones this offseason instead of going with Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, or
no, like who? I can't. Like Daniel Jones is not a guy that fits in a lot of places.
Arizona.
They still like Kyler, like
they still have Kyler, kinda.
They can't even afford to pay Daniel Jones Kyler's contract.
No, they can't. Talking about another terrible contract, Kyler's contract. Bro, when you got to tell a guy that he needs to watch film instead of playing Call of Duty, he might not be the guy. It may be time to start over.
Maybe there's just not enough guys anymore.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. This is arguably the most QB rich environment that we've ever been in terms of quarterbacks that can actually make a difference in your offense.
I don't think it is.
Kerry, name a time when it has been a harder conversation to determine its top 5 quarterbacks than right now.
Do you wonder why there's such a hard conversation? Because there's not that many good quarterbacks. There's so many awful quarterbacks in this league. There's so many mediocre quarterbacks. That's why we don't have a top 10. This was 10 years ago when you had, Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger, Rivers. You knew who they were. Now it's
okay, name. So you named 4 there. Name 4 more. Or no. Name 6 more.
What?
Name 6 more quarterbacks that was starting at the same time as those guys.
Who did I say? Ryan.
No,
Newton,
you didn't say Ryan. You can name Ryan.
Russ.
Okay, that's not long ago enough.
Romo.
Who?
Russ is Seahawk? Yeah, he was.
That's not that long ago.
Russ was in Seattle in 2010, 2009.
I think he's been in the league 10 years.
No, it's longer than 10 years. Russ has been around a while.
That's insane. That makes me feel old.
Same.
Russ was a couple years before Ryan. But those were we had a top 10 list.
But was it as no? But what I'm saying is
now it's different every week. Nobody
It's always been different every week. Though.
No, elite quarter. How many elite quarterbacks are there? They're all arguable. Mahomes is elite, Burrow's elite, Josh Allen. Now it's they put up big stats. Yes, are any of these guys winners? There's only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL that have won a Super Bowl.
Is that true?
It's it's 2 or 3. Yeah, it's crazy. The QB talent is not what it was.
Wait, okay, so you faulting the league because there's a bunch of young quarterbacks not named Tom Brady? Because that's what it sounds like you're doing.
I'm saying, how many Super Bowl winners are in this league? There's 3.
But
Kerry, most of the best quarterbacks in the league have played in the league for less than 5 years.
That's another thing I was going to say. If these guys stay healthy, every quarterback that's probably top 12 right now that's not too old is still going to be around in a few years. Every quarterback in the top 10 is still going to be around in a few years.
Are they?
As long as they're healthy, I would say so.
Anyway.
Once you get 8 through 10, it's...
Anyway. That was my point number 1. Trevor, point number 2.
My point number 2 is that I think the Minnesota Vikings are officially mid, and I would be fine just putting them right there. I think last year, I wouldn't say it was a fluke, but like I said on the show last week, 1-score games, I don't care who you are. You don't go 8-0. Last year was just something crazy for the Vikings. They were able to rattle off 13, maybe 14 wins. And losing Dalvin Cook, Alexander Mattison is fine. He's a good running back. And like Kerry will say, running backs are overvalued. They're not a super necessity to win a Super Bowl. But this Viking team, the thing that was so special about them is not that they were threatening to win a Super Bowl, but that their offense was dynamic. Mm-hmm. They had threats when they were passing the ball. KJ Osborne last year, the fine wide receiver too. Justin Jefferson, the name speaks for itself. And then they had Dalvin Cook. What?
They had 350 passing yards against your Bucs defense. They only lost that game because Kirk Cousins gave the ball 3 times.
Okay, and if you let me get there, now the offense is one-dimensional. Alexander Mattison is not the threat, receiving, or even running, or just in the game as Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook is not good. Enough of talking about Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook sucked yesterday. Enough. Madison is just as good as Cook is. Dalvin Cook is not a good running back.
Absolutely not. Alexander Mattison is not as good as Dalvin Cook, and he takes away an element from the offense. No one fears Alexander Mattison. You had a game plan for Dalvin Cook in Minnesota.
Madison had a touchdown Sunday.
Okay.
What did Cook do? Cook did nothing.
So did River Crowcraft, bro.
No River Crowcraft slander.
That's cray
But I'm just saying, this offense looked different last year when they had Dalvin Cook.
Their
versus this year The world is on Kirk's shoulders, and that's not going to slide.
The Vikings defense looked a lot better Sunday.
They did. The pass rush looked good. I'd agree with that.
The Bucs had 33 carries for 73 yards. Yes, the Bucs rushing game is awful. They only had 169 passing yards. This is a Vikings defense that's horrible. So at least they turned a corner. Brian Flores, very good, underrated coach. And I think he's going to help turn around their defense.
Just like he did Miami, but the offense sucked. The offense is one-dimensional now. The Vikings had their season last year, and that was a lucky season last year. I hate using the word luck, but 8-0 just seems extremely lucky in one-score game. And if they were going to win a Super Bowl or make any kind of noise, it probably should have been last year. I'm lowering them down to mid-level. The Vikings are mid now.
Okay, I don't hate that.
I think they're mid last year, honestly.
Huh?
I think they're mid last year. They just got lucky, like you said. I don't think they're ever that good.
Okay, Kerry, point number 2.
Number 2, Geno Smith has peaked, and he peaked the first half of last season. It was a great story. He looked good.
This guy's so... He's
You
doing
watched him,
180s, bro. He's 180.
Talking about how he peaked all offseason, Zach. I brought up his stats and how he had, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns or 4 picks his last 4 games. He sucked in the playoffs. He didn't do anything in the second half. They gave him the huge contract. He looked awful. He had 4 yards an attempt? With all the weapons he has, he sucked against a mediocre Rams defense. Zach, you'll agree with me on this one. I would love to see Drew Lock at some point this season. I don't think Geno's it's a great story. I'm happy for him, but I do not think he's their future. I would love to see Drew Lock get a shot at some point.
What about Jameis?
What?
What about getting Jameis on that team?
I think Jameis would have fun with that team.
Me too, with all those weapons.
I don't think he'd be ready. I'd rather have him sit for a year and work with Carroll, or at least half a year. But I think if he sat there and learned from Pete Carroll, that would be a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
I would love a Pete Carroll, Jameis Winston collab.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I don't hate that take, Gary.
Yeah, he did. I mean, obviously there's a lot of quarterbacks look bad week 1, but I just haven't seen a lot from him in his last few games.
Alrighty. My point number 2 is about a top-tier quarterback who, frankly, needs to get his shit together. Josh Allen. I love him to death. I knew he was going to be a star from the moment I saw him play in the NFL. Okay? I really did. I believe in this guy. I think he can win an MVP. I think he can win multiple Super Bowls. But Josh Allen needs to stop trying to play hero ball when he does not need to. That's what those interceptions last night were. That's what the turnovers last night were. Is Josh Allen trying to play hero ball. Forcing passes when unnecessary. Trying to do too much when only a little bit is required of him. He doesn't need to score on every play. He doesn't. He needs to be smart with the ball. He's got a good team around him.
James Cook was very good.
Yeah, he did.
It looked like he was playing frustrated, but he didn't seem frustrated. So I don't even know what to put my finger on. Maybe it was just first week jitters, or he was just trying to do too much, and the mental aspect wasn't there. He was geeked out playing under the lights. But
also another thing I didn't like, and this is, you can go back and watch the tape on a lot of his throws. He was throwing very flat-footed. Yes, all arm, which is not the way you want to drive a pass, especially if you're trying to force something. You want to be able to step into it and make a hard throw. But he is throwing a lot of these passes all arm, and maybe it's the Jets pass rush was getting to him all night and he was afraid to step into passes. I don't know. But he just looked like he was trying to do too much. And this is an issue that he's had in the past, and it's an issue that, frankly, I don't believe he needs to have. He's got decent weapons around him. James Cook looks like a pretty good running back and receiving back. He's got a great wide receiver 1 and Stephon Diggs. He's got a decent wide receiver 2 in Gabe Davis. Let your guys help you out. And if you need to, scramble. But other than that, step up make the passes you need to make. Don't force anything. If you got to force something, throw it away.
I think he only had like 30 rushing yards as well.
Do you want to say Josh Allen's Achilles heel in the last year or so has been the Jets defense? If you look the last year when he played them, he put up horrible numbers both games as well. But one game he had, I think, he is 52% completion, 200 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. And the other game he threw for 147 yards on 50% completion. So he has really struggled against his Jets defense. So this is kind of a frequent thing that he's not played well. So again,
does he struggle against the Patriots historically, or
no? He kills us every week, and it pisses me off.
And Tua?
What?
Tua kills y'all too, right?
Yeah, every quarterback in the AL East except for Zach Wilson kills the Patriots every year. So.
Did you just say the AL East?
Yeah.
Bro, this is not barely baseball. What are we doing? Okay. But anyway, that's my point about Josh Allen. He's got to stop trying to be the hero. He just needs to be Josh Allen. That's it.
No, enough of the gunslinger crap they keep calling him too. No, he just chucks crap up there. He's not a gunslinger. He just makes like 5 stupid throws every game.
I mean, he said it best himself. Just trying to force things, same old shit.
He's gonna make Stephon Diggs kill himself by the end of the season. Honestly.
Although I will say, I think the stuff between Stephon and Josh Allen are way overblown. You don't see, if you hate your quarterback or like you hate the decisions he's making, you don't go over and try and cheer him up after an interception. You leave that guy alone because you're like, good, he deserves to suffer.
I think he's just a competitor and he gets into it. And I'm not a Diggs fan, but I think he's just, I don't think he's anything against Allen.
But I think a lot of that stuff was overblown because I just, from what I saw, it looks like they have a good rapport.
Media overblows everything. Trevor, when's it coming? I'm just waiting for it at this point.
The media is an invisible government.
Shut the Not what I was talking about.
Point number 3 is that the Bears are still the Bears, and it pains me to say it because I was silently really looking for some Justin Fields heroics here.
Is Jordan Love their new daddy?
No, I'm not going to go that far. But, man, DJ Moore, 2 catches, 25 yards. That's it. Bro, we heard about this guy 3-4 times a week for 2 months and how, like, big of a difference that was going to be. And, like, I'm not going to blow it out of the water because it's week 1 in Lambeau. It was in it was in Chicago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was at Soldier Field.
Most of Fields' numbers came in garbage time, too.
Yeah, and, I mean, it just looked like there's supposed to be that new element that's there. Like, Justin Fields is supposed to, like, scare you now. Like, last year, he scared you on the ground. Okay, he still does. But, like, Justin Fields is supposed to scare you now. It's all supposed to come together. Like, you stop him on the ground, he's going to throw it. He's got weapons now. You cover him up, you drop too deep, he's going to throw. He's going to make you, or he's going to run, he's going to make you pay. Man, the Packers, they did whatever they wanted to that game.
Yeah.
Offense, defense, and Justin Fields, everybody had their eyes on you, bro.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this just ahead of time. This is my point 3. Bears fans, what happened? We were supposed to see the Justin Fields, DJ Moore show. And instead I was treated to the Packers once again walloping the Bears in the Bears Stadium. I mean, I heard all offseason about how DJ Moore is going to completely change this offense. He's the number 1 wide receiver that Justin Fields needs to really take that next step. And you know what I saw? I saw him almost he wasn't even hardly targeted in the first half. I mean, what are we doing? Get your best player the ball. And maybe it's on the offensive coordinator. I don't know. But at some point, I mean, when are we going to see this next step from Justin Fields? I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I think he can be a great quarterback. Whether it's the play calling or decision making, something's got to change because Bears fans were talking a lot preseason. And I said, I think you can go back in my Twitter archives and look it up. And I said, Boy, the Bears better be good this year.
Adam Rank. They're winning the division, and Fields going to win MVP.
12 wins.
The Bears better be good this year, or Bears fans are going to have a lot of answering to do. And
Here's
right
the
now,
question.
the Bears look like the Bears.
Here's the question. Next year, Williams, May, Ewers, Sanders, Penix, it's endless. If Fields doesn't improve, do they start, if they have a rough year, get a high pick, do they start thinking about drafting another quarterback next season?
I got to trade Fields. Somebody will take a chance on him to change the scenery.
I don't know.
I don't think they would trade him.
I just want to say I love the Pack. Yes, it was the Bears. I think this Packers defense is still legit. They still have that running game. They didn't have Christian Watson. Love still threw for 3 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to be a great team, but I think they're going to be better than a lot of people thought they will this year. And maybe not this year, but I think this team definitely set up for the future with all this young offensive talent.
I agree. I think
if
this
Aaron
team is set up for the
Jones
future.
And even both of those running backs can stay healthy, I might compare this team to like a.
They don't even use
AJ
Dillon.
Like a little better.
AJ Dillon had
A.J. Dillon did not have a great performance.
He had 13 carries for 19 yards.
That's awful.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
I know Goot was really upset that they kept rushing A.J. Dillon instead of Aaron Jones when Aaron Jones was on fire in the first
He got
half.
hurt, though, I heard.
That was like the Jets game last night when
Breece Hall
had 2 carries for 110 yards in like the first half, and Dalvin Cook had 8 for 15, but they kept running Dalvin Cook over and over.
Money, investments.
Guess so. All right, I'll head to my third then. All right, Trevor's going to love this one. Healthy, too, as an MVP candidate.
Yep. Just like he was last year, and then he got injured, and he, started playing all wacky, and everybody lost him up.
Remember, healthy Tua. We saw this same Tua last year. This line actually looked pretty good week 1 against the Chargers, but this is not a good line. This is not a good defense. Obviously, Tua and Hill are going to have to lead this team if they want to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. But if Tua can stay healthy, I mean, you can see him throw for 5,000, 6,000 yards at this point, the way he's throwing.
6,000?
You never know. If he's throwing 400 a game, we'll see. But healthy Tua is pretty darn good.
So this goes back to my surprise thing I said. So I watched Tua and most of the starters play against the Jags in the preseason. What I will say about that is this offensive line got dominated by the Jags. And there was absolutely no pressure on Tua the entire game against the Chargers. That's why I said the Chargers look awful on defense. I don't know why they're paying Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack to be 2 of the greatest pass rushers of all time. They look horrible. And so that's why I said that. Because I saw them preseason, and I was like, wow, this offensive line is really bad.
I'm ready to see, obviously, Patriots fan and bias, but Patriots have a top 10 defense. They look very good against Philly. I think Dolphins going to win at Tua's beat Patriots every time they played them, but I'm very interested to see, can a strong Patriot defense shut down Tua, or is it going to be, more the same this week for the Dolphins?
Is that game in New England?
Yes, Sunday Night Football, 8 p.m.
That should be a good game to watch.
Should be.
That will be a fun one.
But ready for Tua. I will say, I know Trevor's going to talk about it at some point, but since I mentioned Tua, I was very disappointed in Justin Herbert this week. He was fine. He just looked like the Justin Herbert last year, which, Kellen Moore's there. I thought they were going to throw the ball more. They honestly threw the deep ball less. The run game was great, but take some chances.
So what I got, and I'll let Trevor bring it up. Go ahead. Go to your point 4, Trevor.
My point 4 is that Tua's ceiling is higher than Justin Herbert's ceiling. I've seen enough. Yep.
Okay. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
At some point, you got to look up and be like, shit, maybe I've been standing on the ceiling this whole time. Said a lot of stuff for Justin Herbert in the past,
What?
What
the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, that does not.
Maybe the ceiling is not above us anymore. Maybe the ceiling was never a ceiling. I don't know, but...
What?
Just the biggest thing, and I'll say this: the first half of the game, the Chargers offense did look a little different. Like you could tell whether like it was like an OC thing. Like the offense actually looked like it had like a heartbeat, like
I think it did.
a breath.
Herbert was throwing the same crap he had last year. They were able to run the ball well. That was the only difference.
They had a top 10 rushing game of all time, like running success rate or something. They had a top 10 rushing game of all time. But I really hate to bring up math right now because it's late as shit. We've all been drinking. But I talked about Herb checkdown a lot. That's something I explained, and a lot of people didn't like that. But the Herb checkdown, goes away when the rushing yards are substituted because the checkdowns were just rushing yards that were assigned to passing. That was my whole big thing. Now they had these big rushing yards. Justin Herbert only threw for 228 yards. I'm not just going to be scanning the stat book the whole time, but 228 yards, not that much. And I mean, with a guy who's supposed to be elite, top 3 MVP, if you run for this many yards and then you got an elite guy like that, 34 points is fine. And you guys are not going to hate this, but I honestly think the Dolphins defense played worse than the Chargers defense. They both played terrible, but
that's not true at all.
I honestly think the Dolphins defense played a little bit worse.
I have 3 points.
Also the Dolphins, this is my last thing I want to say about this. The Dolphins, I read this today, they never took an offensive snap with the lead.
I have 3 points before I'll let Zach go, sadly, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
1, this will agree with you, Trevor, kind of. Everyone's like, oh, Joe Lombardi's the issue. Joe Lombardi's the issue. That's the reason why Herbert's, not going deep. He's throwing all these checkdowns, whatever. And then Kellen Moore's here, and he's doing the same thing. Maybe it's not the OC. Maybe it's Herbert himself that he will not throw deep. Is that the issue? Maybe it is. Obviously, it's week 1. Things could change. Number 2, you're talking about him not getting passing yards. Part A, you've always clowned him for being a passing yards guy. So I know what you're bringing.
That's what I'm saying. Like the checkdowns he got last year were rushing yards on Sunday.
Yeah, like they didn't. He only had 220 yards touchdown, but they didn't need him to. The only thing you fault him is that stupid throw at the end of the game, which basically cost him the game. And then see, both teams played very well, and like offense-wise, these are the 2 best-looking offenses week 1 in the AFC. And like, honestly, Chargers lost, but I think Chargers are definitely going to be at least a wild card this year and a contender at least in the AFC. And honestly, Dolphins are the best team in the AFC East. I don't think it's close for Jets. Obviously, the season's over. Patriots are very limited in their offense. And Bills obviously did not look good. I think this Dolphins division right now until Tua gets hurt or something like that. But
so I am going to disagree with Carrie. I think the big thing when you look at the game that both Justin Herbert had this year in week 1 and you look at last year, the one thing that definitely changed was Kellen Moore wanted to establish the run game, which is great. I love when coaches get the running backs involved, pound the rock, wear the defense out, especially when you're going up against a weak run defense like Miami. The problem is they ran almost no play action off of that. And play action is where you hit the deep ball. That's where you hit the deep ball. 98% of the time, most deep balls are going to be hit off of play action. You bring the safeties up and you throw over the top of them. Number 2, I don't think necessarily. I think the Dolphins had a really good performance, but I don't think that the way that the defense played against the run is sustainable for a long playoff run.
Absolutely not. That was like watching a college game. It was like watching a Pac-12 game.
Yeah. I mean, the way they played against the run, there are legitimately 10 teams in the AFC that could run for 250 yards on them, the way they played against the run. It looked awful.
They were not a good defense last year either, and they didn't really do anything to prove. Ever since Flores has gone, it's struggled, and it's like I don't know why people expected their defense to be competent this year.
So that's number 1 and 2. Number 3, I don't think Herbert had a bad game.
No, he didn't. Yeah.
A lot of people are saying, "Oh, Herbert only threw." Well, when your offense runs for 200 yards, you don't expect the quarterback to throw for 400. Does that make sense? I mean, I feel like that's pretty self-evident. Obviously, the run game in Miami, no one was expecting that to be great. I mean, they have Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson. Do they still have Salvon Ahmed? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure who their 4th guy is. But no one was expecting the rushing game to be a part of this team's success this year. Everyone was expecting Tua, Hill, Waddle. That was what was going to get the success this year. That's what everyone was expecting.
Waddle was quiet too, honestly.
Yeah, Waddle didn't get much play. I mean, to be fair, why would you throw to Waddle when Tyreek Hill is running free in the secondary? So, I mean, not that surprising. But so for the Dolphins, I think to be successful this year, they got to clean up the run defense. I don't see them being successful against teams with good defenses if they can't stop the run. Because like I talked about with the Titans, that Titans era where they were like one of the top 2 teams in the AFC consistently, they ran the ball really well and they had a good defense. And they absolutely destroyed teams that couldn't stop the run and could score points on offense, but realistically, no one is going to score points on every single drive. Realistically, just not going to happen. So the issue I see with the Dolphins right now is a defensive issue. I don't see necessarily an issue on offense other than that they were pretty one-dimensional in terms of their production. Now, that could be just, hey, they're selling out to stop the run. Let's just throw the ball.
Whoever schemed that game up was damn near perfect, whether it was Mike McDaniel, the OC, whoever. But, like, and you could tell they were confident leading up to the game, like in press conferences and stuff. I mean, McDaniel he never sounds worried or anything. But, man, they were just...
Sounds like a nerd.
Sometimes it looked like they were going out there, running the same play 2 times in a row, and it was working.
Honestly, they're not, I told this to Trevor in the game, they're not a red zone team. Like, I said to Trevor, Tua will put up like 5 of 5 for 125 yards, and then he'll go in the red zone, go like 1 of 6 for 5 yards, and ruin all stats. He had a TD at the end, but like Tua really isn't that great.
Also,
you run out
one
of
thing
space.
I want to say before we get off this topic: that throw, that fade throw to Tyreek Hill, was not even close to his best throw of the game, and I think to say that is stupid.
Yeah, that was a great game.
A few very good throws, especially like outside of the pocket.
The Braxton
his
Berrios
best throw in the game, in my opinion,
the Berrios one
was either the Berrios one or the throw to Tyreek when he stepped up into the pocket and threw it between a safety and a corner. That was either one of those two is the best throw of the game. That fade route to Tyreek, honestly, this far from bouncing off the defender's helmet. Okay?
That's what makes it, sadly, the best throw I've ever seen in my life.
That is just stupid.
Sadly. The best short throw I've ever seen in my life.
That's really dumb, but okay.
2 final quick points. Herbert ran it the first half a lot. He got about 20 yards of rushing touchdown. He did not run it all last year, so I was happy to see Herbert start running again.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they'll keep that involved. 2, obviously we're not thrilled how Herbert went, but name an AFC quarterback besides Tua that outplayed Herbert this week. Maybe Lawrence, maybe Jimmy G.
Lawrence.
That's about it. No AFC quarterbacks really looked that good. So even like you called it a down effort from Herbert, he was probably the 4th best quarterback in the AFC this week.
I'm just waiting for those elite traits.
Trevor,
elite quarterback.
Look at all the other AFC elite quarterbacks played.
I've seen elite traits from them before. I've never seen elite traits from Justin Herbert, ever. I've seen a strong arm and some long blonde hair that I might pull if I had too many twisted tees. But yeah, bro.
Alrighty. Carrie, your point number 4.
All right, I kind of hated on this guy a bit. And yes, it was one game, so it might be a bit of an overreaction. But I talked about him earlier. Shout out to Matthew Stafford, man. Everybody thought the Seahawks were going to win. He lost his only weapon in Cooper Kupp. Seahawks had a good defense.
Bro, no Puka Nakua hate.
Matthew Stafford is throwing at random Hawaiian and white guys like Puka Nakua, Ben Skronik, Tulu Atwell. Like, these aren't real people.
Tutu Atwell is not white. Racist.
He's Hawaiian. No, he's Hawaiian. Skronik's white. But, like, he's throwing to nobodies. This is not a great team. He had, I think, second most yards to Tua. Stafford played a great game. We all thought he was washed. He was done. But Stafford proved he's, still top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I don't know how far this roster can get.
Speaking of top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, guess what's coming out this week? Zach's quarterback rankings. Be ready for shocks and odds.
I was gonna put Trevor Lawrence at number 1, dude. I can see it now.
Be ready for shocks and odds through 1 week.
Also, do we think is there any chance, this came up a couple weeks ago, that the Jets try to get Stafford before they got Rodgers? Is there any chance the Jets can get Stafford?
No? Not after his week 1 performance. The Rams won't let him go.
If I was the Jets, I would give a lot of money.
Sell high. Yeah, sell high.
I mean, what's the peak the Rams going to do with Stafford in this roster?
They're 1-0. They're undefeated right now, bro.
Wild card, maybe?
They're undefeated.
I would retire. If I traded Stafford and I was Sean McVay, I would retire.
Wait, let's do a quick mini game. Who should be the Jets starting quarterback for the rest of the year?
Zach Wilson.
Really?
Yeah.
No Carson Wentz?
Colin Kaepernick.
What are our thoughts on... Call me crazy. What if Trey Lance got traded again to the Jets?
Dude, that was...
Call me crazy.
No. Nobody... They don't want to start him.
I did
Nobody
see...
wants to start him.
What about Cooper Rush getting traded to the Jets now that they have Lance?
Wait, what about...
There's some intriguing targets out there.
That guy's name?
Trubisky?
No,
Nathan
not
Moore?
Trubisky.
Brissett?
No, not Brissett. Although that
Brissett?
would probably be a good fit, honestly.
They just need someone that can, not turn the ball over. And
God, what's it? Will Greer.
Where is he?
he's in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, that's right.
Will Greer.
Also, the Bengals are pussies. Why are you benching? They bench their starters way too early in that game.
Hey, man.
They gave
If it
up,
ain't
bro.
working, don't fix it.
All right, Zach, we got.
That's the saying. All right,
It's not.
my next point is gonna be related to my favorite team in the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is that I think this team can go far. I think
What does
this
far
team can
mean,
do some
Zach?
stuff.
What does that mean?
I think this team can do some stuff.
That doesn't mean what I think it means, does it?
What is it? What do you think it means?
I think it. I mean, I'm not saying that.
Say it.
I'm not putting the Jags and that other thing in the same sentence.
I think, honestly, with the way that we looked in week 1, which is by far better than most other teams in the NFL, I think that it would be a disappointment to not at least make the AFC Championship game.
Okay, so AFC South playing the NFC South this year, so they'll be able to coast a little bit, or for at least the majority of the season.
We also play the AFC North this year as well.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. We play the Ravens, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Bengals.
But at least half of the season, you'll be comfortable as long as everybody's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the real hard stuff is going to get towards the end. I don't see this team getting a first round bye, but I just feel like that's just an odds thing. Odds are they're not going to get a first round bye. So the real tough stuff is going to happen first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs, and then you're in the AFC Championship game. So you think 3 straight. I mean, this is going to have to be a way different team than last year. Not way different, but the offense is going to be need to be more reliable if they're going to win those playoff games that they.
Yeah.
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 And you're believing.
Yeah.
Kerry, what's the farthest this Jacksonville Jaguars team can go?
I don't know. I just don't. The AFC looked a lot worse than I thought. So you never know. If it keeps looking like this, you never know. I mean, Jags are pretty close to beating the Chiefs last year.
Well, they got him in week 2.
Just take.
And we don't even have to throw the ball to Jamal Agnew anymore. We have we have 3 legit wide receivers.
Yeah, Jags are at least a playoff team, and you just need to get hot. And I will say, I think I clown Zach a little for Calvin Ridley, but him and Trevor Lawrence look great.
Yep.
He scored, right? Yeah, he was wide open.
I think 108 yards and a touchdown on 8 receptions or something like that.
They look good.
Have we all been through 4?
Yeah, that was 4. Last point, Trevor.
Right. Last point. I don't want to set this up for the future, but I do kind of agree with. I was listening to David Bakhtiari talk a little bit today, and kind of his opinion on turf versus grass, and everything he said really made sense. I mean, but I think that does need to be way more of a discussion than it is right now. Just with players getting hurt, the way he made it sound was it's essentially a carpet that the stadiums roll out so they can use it for other purposes. It's easy to clean up. Grass is, way heavier on the pocketbook, etc. And he was saying, football is, you play football in the mud, you play football in the snow, you play in the rain, you play you get out there and you go in the grass no matter what. And everybody's, you play peewee football, you play flag football in middle school, you play high school football. Pretty much, you play college football. You're playing in grass, so these guys that go out on the field that are $1 million investments. Aaron Rodgers has a $75 million guaranteed money in his contract, and just from the way, I don't know if you guys saw that freeze frame or whatever, but Aaron Rodgers' cleat looks like it's stuck in the. His cleat is stuck standing straight in the grass, and he's laid over. It looks completely unnatural. No surprise that a 39, 40-year-old Achilles just snapped right off, but yeah, man, I think that's something that I'm getting a little more interested in, and I think it's something that the average NFL fan should, and I think it should be a conversation sooner than later, because I don't want to keep.
So I 100% agree with we should be moving to grass. All right, the NFL makes enough money that we should have grass fields. It's not like, oh man, we're really hurting for cash in the NFL. We should have grass fields because player safety number 1, especially, and this is where we're going to disagree on this, especially because of head injuries. If that's a serious thing that the NFL wants to do, hitting your head on grass with dirt underneath it is going to do less damage than hitting your head on turf. Because it's more like slamming your head against a brick wall. So, with the Aaron Rodgers injury specifically, I don't know if that changes if the grass is there. Because I've seen similar situations, and the one that comes to mind where a player's cleat got stuck in the ground and other parts of them didn't is Marcus Lattimore in college.
Was that in grass?
Mm-hmm. That was grass.
That was nasty, dude.
His cleat gets stuck, he gets hit in the knee, and the knee goes bye-bye. And that's it. He was one of the top prospects as a running back going into the next draft, and now his career's over. I think he got drafted and was on a special thing with the NFL for a little bit, but at the same time, that ruined his career. He was set to be a top running back coming out of college. He's a great running back.
He was going to be a top 5 pick, yeah.
Yeah. And
nothing, no career.
Now all of a sudden, no career for Marshawn Lattimore. So, I don't know if that changes the Rodgers injury. However, 100% agree with your point.
I don't think I've ever even like played on turf before. I think I played like one baseball game on turf one time, but I don't even.
I played on turf before. I don't like it.
Every time I think about football, I think about playing in grass.
Yeah.
But yeah, just my point number 5. What do y'all got?
What do you got, Kerry?
49ers are the best team in the NFL.
Every year with this guy. Every single year with
That's
Kerry
not-
Dempsey. So are
It's
they
just
winning the
whoever
Super Bowl,
beats his
Kerry?
former favorite team.
Didn't say that. This is the 49ers. I'm saying now they're the best team in football. You know they're the 49ers. There's going to be injuries.
They probably are the best team in football, sadly.
No,
But-
I actually agree with that.
Even you can clown. I hyped up Steelers offense as a horrible way to start the season. We'll see if they bounce back. But you got to admit that Steelers defense is, top 5, and they absolutely destroyed that Steelers defense in that first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Watt had a great game, but otherwise Steelers were shut down. Brock Purdy, didn't have to do much, but what he did, cooked. This team, it's so hard to beat that offense.
Yeah.
And
There's
This
just
is
so
a good
many
de-
weapons everywhere.
it's good defense, too. And honestly, the Cowboys, I still don't trust their offense. I think the Eagles aren't as good as people think they are. And Chiefs, obviously, Mahomes has nothing besides Kelce, not weapons. And Bengals, Bills, all these other teams to see faults in. Niners, the only fault I see in this team is injuries. And knowing the Niners is going to happen, but for now, it's
What
complete-
fault did you see with Dallas?
I don't trust their offense. That was another guy that looked. Dak did not look good once again.
What do you
Their
mean he didn't look good? He
their
didn't have to
offense
do anything.
didn't
He
do
threw the
anything.
ball like 20 times.
Their offense did not look good either.
Oh.
They had like 3 yards a carry. Dak had like 25 attempts for 170 yards. Look at Dak's stat line. He had the same stat line as Daniel Jones did, minus the interceptions. Dak's not a bad quarterback, but I don't trust him yet. Probably never will.
I think that's a fair point, Kerry.
He's good. He's just never proven he could take it to the next level.
But I have an even better point, 5. And that
Go
is
ahead.
Kerry Dempsey, apologize. Apologize to everybody.
Oh,
Should I? For what?
Yes.
For what, Zach? For what?
Do you want me to list them all off or just
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Kenny Pickett? What happened? He's the guy, right, Kerry?
It's week 1.
Okay.
He disappointed me. It's week 1. It's not over yet.
I already
If-
mentioned
if-
the Colorado
if the-
thing. I already
if
mentioned
the-
the Colorado thing.
The season's over. If we're on in week 1, Joe Burrow's getting cut. We're sending Josh Allen to China to go play for the Guangdong Tigers.
But this is last year plus week 1.
All right, so
Any others?
I already mentioned the Colorado thing.
Sure.
Okay. I need you to apologize to me for the Miami thing.
What? What did I say about Miami? They're gonna lose.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah, at like
Yeah.
halftime.
Yeah.
No, wait, no. This were his exact words. I remember them because I was like, you are the dumbest person ever for keep giving me ammunition.
This man.
He says this. He says this. Miami might be worse than Florida.
Yeah, that was kind of a troll. Florida's pretty bad. Florida can only win by not throwing the ball.
Sadly.
Was that it, or I have more to apologize for?
No, there was a ton, dude.
I know Calvin Ridley was on there. I apologize.
Calvin Ridley. There's another. Oh man, it's just like everything that happened this weekend. It was like Kerry had the opposite opinion. It was so nuts. Like
Those are
Trevor, you were in the group chat. Like everything that happened, I was like, Kerry, and I even posted about it like 30 times on Twitter. Kerry, apologize.
I want
To
to
the
say,
viewers at home, you need to apologize for your opinions.
I think the only take I kind of got right was that Jimmy G looked pretty good in his debut, but that was against Denver. And that was about the only thing that went my way this week.
Also, I remember Denver, Pat Surtain. Both of you apologize.
Oh, I meant to bring that up.
Sauce got cooked too, though.
Got cooked.
I meant to bring that up.
2? Yeah, Sauce is not that good. I already knew this. I told you guys this in the offseason. Sauce is a holding merchant, okay? Once he stops holding, he can't guard anybody. Okay? Pat
Like he did not want to guard.
Pat Surtain is a legit island. And there are no receptions on this island. Doesn't matter if you're having a wedding.
Who's he covering? Adams?
Adams, yeah.
Yeah, but then he was focused on Adams, so then Jacoby Myers had 2 touchdowns in the game of his life.
Okay. I'm talking about
the
best corner in the NFL, a top 5 player in the NFL. Devontae Adams got shut down by Pat Surtain.
Didn't he have like 70 yards? Or were they not on Surtain?
They were not on. He went like out of 8 targets, he had 2 catches for 11 yards.
Yeah, I know something like that.
He didn't really throw the ball that much in that game, though. That's kind of a weird game.
Jimmy G started out hot.
Jimmy G played a great game. He had a game-winning drive, unlike Justin Herbert.
Okay.
And,
even like Mac Jones, who I've clowned for years, had probably his best game in a while.
Yeah.
And Russ.
Max don't choke to the end. Yeah, Russ looked better with Sean Payton, but like
not that much better.
The Raiders aren't supposed to be a great team, and that was a team they should have beat.
But they have Divine Diablo on that defense, bro.
Yeah. That's not Chandler Jones, but is it any more apologies I have to give, or is that it?
Well, you haven't apologized yet. Say I'm sorry.
I said it for Ridley. I won't say it for the rest of them.
Wow. Okay.
The Miami one is a troll. I already forgot the other ones.
Pretty much every take you've had this offseason. Just
apologize. Hey, it's week 1. I got 17 more weeks to go get right, boys.
Is Pat Surtain better than every other corner in the league?
I've said he's the best corner in the league.
Okay.
Blay had a pick 6.
I just don't think he's a top 20 player in the league.
I think he absolutely is. Absolutely.
But I have him like top 25, I think. Maybe.
Anyway. Alrighty. I think that's all it for points. Kerry, you want to go into rapid fire? Then we can shut this bad boy down.
Do it. All right. Is Matthew Stafford a top 10 quarterback? I think me and Zach both answered this. Trevor?
Yeah.
Name a former Steelers wide receiver. Plaxico Burress.
Hines Ward.
Fuck, I was going to say that. Santonio Holmes.
True or false? The New York Jets have the best defense in the NFL.
False.
Dallas.
Yeah,
Jets look great, though, man.
Yeah, it's close. It's close, though. Jets, Niners, Cowboys are all in like their own trio. Describe Aaron Rodgers in one word. Hurt.
Injured.
Papa.
Name a better QB wide
Are you a
receiver
Bears
duo.
fan?
Yes.
Yes. Name a better QB wide receiver duo than Tua and Hill.
Can't. I just can't.
I want to say Burrow and Jefferson, but
dude, I should say
I would take Burrow and Jefferson.
Burrow and Chase. Oh, god damn.
I'm still taking Aaron Diggs. Sadly.
Did you guys see Antonio Brown tweeted today? I heard the Steelers need a wide receiver.
That guy tweets about such random crap now. Do you see he gave his phone to some frat kid?
Yeah, he gave his pants away and his phone was
and then this some guy just had Antonio Brown's phone on it. And Antonio Brown's contact name for his manager was literally an Antonio Manager.
Honestly though, that's fair. That's what he is.
Dude, I knew a guy one time that I played basketball with. He was like, I need to call my neighbor. I think I left my garage up. And he took his phone out, and his neighbor's name was Naber. Neighbor.
That's funny.
I was like, man, it's simple. It works, you know?
All right. Is Daniel Jones a top 20 quarterback? Barely, if so.
If so, barely, yeah.
He's around 20. Is Tua a top 5 quarterback?
Not yet.
Yes.
This season, yes. Overall,
Well,
no.
is Rodgers hurt? Yeah, he is.
Who's a better quarterback, Herbert or Tua?
Tua.
Herbert.
I still think Herbert.
You guys, man.
All right, I did this.
Hard.
All right, call it now. Name a player that have a monster game next Sunday.
Ooh.
Who do the Falcons play?
Falcons play Packers.
Ooh. Never mind. Who the Jags play?
Chiefs. That was a great game.
I'm gonna say who's gonna have a monster game. I think honestly,
I'm gonna go with
Calvin Ridley's gonna have a monster game next week.
Let me see it. I'm gonna go Saquon Barkley against the Cardinals. I think the Giants will bounce back against the worst team in the NFL. Trevor?
Who's going to have a monster game? Anthony Richardson on the ground. Actually, no, I don't like that. Monster game, Josh Allen. Big bounce back. They play the Raiders, I think.
Not a bad pick either.
All right. Name a former Texas football player. Vince Young.
Colt McCoy.
Jordan Shipley.
Trigger this fan base in one sentence. The Steelers. Tom Brady owns you.
The AFC North has started 14 seasons in a row with a sexual assaulter at a quarterback. Just think about who was there for most of those 14 seasons.
Ben, okay. Man, I just don't got it.
Hurry up. It's rapid fire. I want to go to bed.
Trigger, a Steelers fan?
All right. We're moving on to the next one.
Okay.
Who's the best pre-1980s quarterback? I'm gonna go
Johnny
United.
Unitas.
Yeah.
Tua.
Okay.
True or false? Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach ever. I misspelled
Bear
this.
Bryant, brother.
And I thought it fit, so I didn't want to change it. But it's true.
Coach? No.
Who do you have higher?
Bear Bryant.
Mark Brick.
No.
Mark Richt, Miami legend.
No, not Mark Richt. Mark Richt was a terrible coach. He was a good recruiter, but a terrible coach. Greatest coach.
Rapid.
Joe Paterno.
All right, who's your favorite team's Mount Rushmore running backs all time? Trevor hates these questions.
Warwick Dunn. Cadillac Williams.
Barber?
Doug Martin that one day against the Raiders.
Barber?
Huh?
Barber was a cornerback for the Bucks, brother.
Wait.
Tiki played for the
Tiki was-
Giants.
Oh, he's the Giants, right? I always get the confused.
I'm gonna say fourth one. The Bucks are gonna have a white running back one day, and he's gonna be awesome. So yeah.
Shut
I'm
up.
going
be
to
my
go
turn.
with Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew. I'm probably going to go Lenny Fournette, and then
Storm Johnson.
Travis Etienne.
Patriots, Corey Dillon, Curtis Martin, Kevin Falk, James
Garrett
White.
Blunt.
James White better.
No LeGarrette Blunt? Wow.
I might stick LeGarrette Blunt on my Bucks one.
Garrett was good. All right, is Tua the Miami Dolphins' best quarterback since Dan Marino?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
not even close.
I'm gonna say true, and I said true before I heard the last three words of that sentence. So
All right, here's a bit of a dated.
Relax, bro.
Here's a bit of a dated one. Aaron Rodgers will have how many passing touchdowns this season?
0.
Yeah, 0. True or false? Jared Goff is better than Matthew Stafford as a Lion.
false.
I'm gonna go. Actually, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna go true.
I think false, but I think this year he can definitely overtake him. All right, who's your way too early prediction to win MVP this year? Me and Trevor did this last week. Zach, who's your MVP prediction?
MVP? Tyreek Hill.
Whoa.
Non-quarterback. I know. Wild.
Wow. All right, where do you rank Jared Goff among quarterbacks in the NFL right now? I put him like right about 10.
I think
I have
8
him
through 10.
8 or 9.
All right, last one. What first-year full-time starter will have the best season? So guys like Love, Howell, Ritter, Richardson, Stroud, Young.
Ritter! Wait, he's going to have the most success. He's going to win the most games. Desmond Ritter.
I saw Howell last week, but I like what I saw from Love, so I'm thinking let's go Love.
Yeah, I'll say Love or Richardson. I love Richardson.
I bet you do. All right, that's it for Rapid Fire. Follow us on Twitter, Beerly Football. See all these questions before we talk about them on the show.
Alrighty, before we sign off, is there anything you guys want to plug?
Yeah, man. If anybody's still listening to this shit at this point, I just want to let you guys know I'm going to be really drunk watching football this Sunday. So next show is going to be some shit.
Live.
In a good way.
Carrie?
Follow me on Twitter, Beerly Carey. Hear all my Mac Jones takes all day long, every day. Hear me defend Ryan Tannehill and other crap like that.
And if you guys are at all interested in one of the oldest sports in the world, the game of golf. Beerly has a new golf podcast called Beerly Out of Bounds. It is me and Zane Smith, my brother. We are both PGA professionals, and we talk about everything happening in golfing news. Talk about some coaching stuff also, and do all that. And if you want all my football and golf takes, you can obviously follow me on Twitter at Beerly Zach. If you want to know everything before it happens, make sure you follow me. I'm colloquially known as Zach Strauss. So,
and the Hiccuper.
And the Hiccuper. I've had 3 of these.
Pretty good.
12.5%, baby. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Beerly Football Podcast. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Beerly Football Podcast. We will see you guys next week, where I overtake Trevor in the pick'em. I don't even think that's actually possible, honestly.